After my video with the what if scenarios, I noticed that a lot of people were especially interested in the one where Thanos doesn't die. As I mentioned in that video, his survival would completely change how the rest of the games unfold. Thanos' death created the biggest domino effect in the series, so in today's video, we'll discuss what would have happened if Thanos had survived the end of Season 2. The biggest impact of his death was on the drugs and how they ended up transferring from Nam-gyu to Minsu. I truly believe that without the pill, Minsu wouldn't have been able to kill someone during the hide-and-seek game, and he would have been eliminated. Minsu and Young-sik displayed similar personality traits. We learned from Geum-ja that her son, despite his tall and intimidating appearance, was constantly bullied throughout his childhood, which caused him to develop a passive personality, someone easily pushed around. Similarly, Minsu exhibited the same behavior, getting bullied by Nam-gyu and tolerating everything he did to him. Based on that, I assumed that without the drugs, Minsu would have reacted just like Young-sik did during hide-and-seek, trembling with fear, hesitant to kill a blue player. So, if Thanos had survived, Minsu definitely wouldn't have passed this game as a red player. There's a slim chance Thanos might have helped his lil boy Minsu, but I doubt it. Another major ripple effect would have involved Nam-gyu. Like I mentioned in the video after the bathroom fight, there were 5 pills left. Nam-gyu ended up abusing them, but that mistake wouldn't have happened if Thanos had lived. Thanos had already warned him that the drug was experimental and extremely potent. He only gave Nam-gyu a pill after he insisted that he had tried every substance imaginable, and even showed his scarred hand as proof. If Thanos had survived, they would have had enough pills to last the rest of the games. 2 for the 4th game, 2 for the 5th, and 1 final dose, likely saved for the final round. I don't think Thanos would have had any trouble clearing hide-and-seek, even if he ended up on the blue team. As for the 5th game, Thanos looked athletic, tall, and physically capable, traits that would have made jumping the rope gap much easier. Keep in mind, even Nam-gyu, while going through withdrawal, managed to make the jump. The only reason he failed was because he got hit by the rope right after realizing Minsu had lied about the pills. If he could make it that far in that state, there's no doubt he would have completed the game if he'd been sober. That being said, Thanos likely would have been one of the finalists. Now here's a major consequence I hadn't thought of when I first wrote the script. This was actually pointed out in the comments by one of my subscribers, Fayaznushad1718. They noted that Thanos would probably have helped Sami during the special game, or at the very least, stopped Nam-gyu from going after her. So, we can assume that if Thanos had survived, Sami might have survived too. Now imagine this alternate timeline, darker and more brutal. Sami survives and is assigned red in the hide-and-seek game. Meanwhile, Minsu picks a blue ball, making him a hider, which honestly fits his character better. During the game, the two of them cross paths. Picture this. Minsu is hiding in the corner of a room, trembling with fear as he hears screams and announcements of more and more eliminations. The clock is ticking down, just minutes left. Then, the door creaks open and a red player walks in. Minsu's horror turns to relief when he sees it's Sami. He expects her to spare him. But here's the tragic twist. Sami hasn't forgiven him for what happened during the Mingle game. Minsu, panicked, pleads for his life, saying he didn't have a choice. But Sami doesn't listen. She ends up killing him. That would have been absolutely insane, and trust me, no one would have seen it coming. But the biggest change in the storyline, if Thanos had been alive in Season 3, would be tied to the relationship between Myung-gi and Jun-hee. And honestly, I believe a lot of Myung-gi fans would have preferred this alternative scenario over the one we actually got. Mayongi killing Thanos marked the beginning of his descent. We see Mayongi shaking, terrified, after killing him. He locked himself in the bathroom, unable to process what he had done. He was so shaken that he couldn't even speak, not even to Jun-hee. If Thanos had still been alive, I don't think Nam-gyu would have asked Mayongi to partner up during the hide-and-seek game to hunt down blue players. Most likely, Nam-gyu would have teamed up with Thanos instead, and the two of them would have gone on a killing spree during that game. The bloodshed would have been so extreme that even the brutality of the special game would pale in comparison. And if Myung-gi never teamed up with Nam-gyu in the 4th game, he wouldn't have ended up killing Hyun-ju, an act that shattered Jun-hee's trust in him. If Thanos had survived and partnered with Nam-gyu instead, the entire aftermath would have shifted. Rather than breaking the trust and relationship between Jun-hee and Myung-gi, their bond could have grown even stronger. Myung-gi would have kept his promise to Jun-hee. He would have killed a blue player and then come back to protect his ex-girlfriend. What's even crazier is that Nam-gyu and Thanos might have actively searched for Jun-hee, knowing how important she was to Mayongi. So Thanos being alive could actually trigger another scenario, one where Mayongi ends up sacrificing himself for Jun-hee. Maybe the two killers catch her, and at the last moment, Mayongi appears to save her, just like he did during the Mingle game. One thing working in Mayongi's favor is the fact that he's a red player, and the rules strictly prohibit red players from killing each other. So let's imagine a version of the fourth game where this plays out. It's game 4. Thanos and Nam-gyu are chasing Jun-hee, Jum-ja, and Hyunju. Remember, Hyunju would still be alive in this version, because Myung-gi and Nam-gyu never partnered up, so Myung-gi never killed her. As the girls race from room to room trying to escape, they finally find the exit, but they don't have time to unlock the door. Hyunju hands them the keys and tells them to run, while she holds the killers off. She turns around and rushes back to stall them, giving the others a chance to escape. Having a military background, Hyunju manages to hold her ground, but unfortunately, she's injured by Thanos. Now barely able to stand, she can no longer defend herself effectively against two players. Just as Thanos goes in for the kill, Myung-gi steps in and stops him. He yells at Hyunju to get out of there, assuring her that he'll hold them off. Myung-gi manages to keep both Thanos and Nam-gyu at bay, long enough for Hyunju to barely slip through the exit door. Seeing that she escaped, Thanos and Nam-gyu turn their attention to Myung-gi. They know they can't kill him because the rules strictly prohibit red players from killing each other, but the rules don't say anything about beating someone within an inch of their life. The only thing the rulebook specifies is no killing a teammate, so they begin to beat Myung-gi until he's no longer able to move. This selfless act wouldn't just be Myung-gi keeping his promise to Jun-hee, it would also serve as a redemptive moment for what happened with young Mi. Saving Hyunju and protecting her during the game would be his way of apologizing for his past mistakes during the Mingle round. In this version of events, his relationship with Jun-hee would remain intact. Myung-gi would finally have the chance to hold his daughter in his arms. Unfortunately, because of the injuries he sustained during the beating, he wouldn't survive the jump rope game. Tragically, Jun-hee, with her fractured ankle, would also be unable to complete the game. In this scenario, we would lose both characters during the rope jump. There's a 50-50 chance Hyunju would survive that game, but the scale tips toward her dying as well. Her leg injury wouldn't be Myung-gi's fault. Instead, it would be the result of her decision to protect Jun-hee and Gum-ja. Regardless of his actions, her fate would remain mostly the same. Now, what about the final game? Well, if we somehow make it to that point, it's safe to say our heroes wouldn't stand a chance. Even if Mayongi had survived, it would be Gi-hoon and Mayongi versus everyone else. Realistically, all three of them, including the baby, would be eliminated in the first round. From the second round onward, it would probably devolve into a battle royale with no clear sides. You could argue there'd be two factions, Thanos and Nam-gyu versus the remaining random players, but honestly, the outcome becomes impossible to predict at that point. Most likely, Thanos would end up winning the games. Whether he wins solo or alongside Nam-gyu, that's another debate. But one thing is certain, if Thanos and Nam-gyu were in the finals, Mayongi would definitely not make it past the first round. Gi-hoon might stand a small chance thanks to the knife, but even then, those odds are very low. The sacrifices in this version would be painfully clear: Myung-gi, Gi-hoon, and the baby. And with that, we conclude our video. I hope you enjoyed this alternative scenario. Like I've said many times, Thanos' death had the biggest butterfly effect in Season 3. It would have been incredibly interesting to see how things played out with him alive, all the way to the finale. What do you think? Did you picture a different version of Thanos surviving into the endgame? Let me know in the comments below.